Well, hey man, what's news?
What's the news?
No,
the news is
just like what's
not drinking booze in a little while.
Is this this is just maybe potentially taking a very sudden, serious, and personal turn? Are you like?
No, I was just looking for a rhyme.
Okay.
I go long stints without drinking alcohol. You know that.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if if the neighbor calls the cops one more time, it's like because I didn't know what the
No,
you got
that was the first rhyme that came to mind.
Got a little electronic anklet on your ankle that goes off if you leave the property. Like what's Okay, cool. Well,
no serious business. Just looking for a rhyme to help with this chit chat introduction to our podcast.
Well, it's because you're allowing your liver time to recuperate before I come home for the holidays. Is ultimately,
apparently. Yeah,
ultimately what that is. But hello and welcome to the Movie Men Podcast.
Yeah, the B team.
Yeah, I'm Brady,
and that's Brady.
I'm
Carl. What just happened?
Yeah, I took control is what happened. I saw a part of my life that was causing me stress, and I took charge. You threw a wrench in the works, and
everything's imploding. We're all doomed.
Been waiting to do that for like 4 days. I've literally got nothing else prepared. That was all of my.
All right, and so Patreon merch, subscribe, comment. See you next week.
Yeah. No, listen, we're here to talk about the news. As happens every week, some things in Hollywood have gone down. I don't like saying things in Hollywood because that makes it sound like, so-and-so's moved in with so-and-so, or they were like seen on the beach together by paparazzi. No, it's like things in the world of movies and movie news and...
It's not. This isn't gossip.
No, we're not TMZ.
Well, there's some
happens.
There's some unsubstantiated rumors that we might talk about. Today's a good day for that, I think. Looking at the Cliff Notes.
Yeah,
but it's not rumors and gossip.
It's not like diving into celebrities' personal lives.
Yeah,
we just don't care. So, without further ado,
we care about fictional worlds, not real worlds.
We care about news that impacts the movies that we're going to watch.
Yeah, that impacts our fictional worlds.
Yeah. So let's just get right into it. Now, Disney, being the conglomerate monopolizer that they are, having bought Fox and Marvel and Star Wars and Pixar.
The mousy overlord.
Yeah. So we were recently talking about how Big Papa Iger has been brought back and handed the scepter and the throne and the crown and said, "Here, fix this." Like, correct this ship that is in a lot of trouble. And reports have come out that suggest that one of the things that might be on the horizon for Disney and Bob Iger is the potential purchase of Netflix.
Yeah, I read this in the Cliff Notes, and all I could think the first thought that came to mind was, good. One less subscription I have to pay for.
Well, no, so here's the thing. I don't
There's more to it than that when you start thinking about it. But that was my very first reaction.
Netflix
One less subscription I need to pay for.
Yeah, Netflix itself I don't think would disappear. I don't think Netflix would just become a section on Disney+. I think Netflix would remain intact as its own service for one simple reason. For one simple reason. Even though Netflix in recent years has seen some subscription drop off and have been in some financial trouble at times, when you're talking about streaming services, the OG, the granddaddy, the
one who started it
the
all.
brand recognition name is Netflix. Netflix has almost reached that point where, you may be, regardless of what search engine you're about to use on the internet, you're going to Google it. Google it has just become, and so, it's, I'm going to Netflix and chill. Might not actually mean Netflix. No one says, I'm gonna Hulu and chill. I'm gonna Discovery Plus
Amazon
and chill.
Prime
and chill. Yeah. No, it's Netflix and chill. It's just become synonymous with streaming. So I think it would be foolish for Netflix or for Disney, if they did purchase Netflix, to do away with that name. Just because it's too iconic.
Yes. So I've taken some college level business courses at Conestoga, which when I went was like the top business college in Ontario. I don't know if it still is. It'd be cool if it was. Anyway, one of the courses I took, when we dove into the subject of like corporates takeovers, and when one business buys another one, what are like the pros and cons, and what do some businesses do? What are like the models that they can follow? And like one of the models is you just kind of take over your brand, gets splattered all over whatever their brand is, and they cease to exist. Kind of the way Target did to Zellers.
Right.
Zellers overnight ceased to exist. Everything was Target. The second way is what you're suggesting, is you buy out the company, but you don't change anything because there's the brand recognition.
Right.
That being said, I agree that Disney, like Netflix, has that OG brand recognition, Netflix and chill. But Disney is Disney. Disney's got way more brand recognition than Netflix does, in my opinion.
Oh, agreed.
They both have lots. But like Disney's already got the star, like the channel stars under the Disney Plus,
which
model
for our American listeners is a Canadian thing. So in Canada, we don't have Hulu, and all of our Hulu shows, properties show up on our Disney Plus as, across the top, you've got like Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, Disney, stuff like that. Well, we have another one that says Star, and that's kind of where a lot of Disney's more adult content has landed.
So like I could just as easily see Disney going, we got more brand recognition than Netflix does. Slap it on Disney Plus under its own heading, just the way they did with Stars or Hulu and stuff like that.
The only reason
they could go either way. I agree with you, but I think the smart play is to bundle them together some form financially. Yeah. Whether they remain separate and you get your two accounts for one price at a cheaper rate, or whatever it is, like. Yeah, I don't know. I just like the idea of not having another subscription models for everything these days have gotten way out. Like you can get a subscription model for for razors, your household products, and like it's gotten out of hand. It's ridiculous. Some things it makes sense for, some things it's just the
one thing I will say.
Leeches money out of people's accounts, and it's like it's almost financially worse than playing the lottery, because you end up paying for the subscription, and then if you stop using it, or you stop using the product or the service, but you forget to cancel, you're literally flushing money down the toilet.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say, the reason I don't see them amalgamating is if I fire up, I just pulled up Netflix here. So one of the things that Bob Chapek did when he took over, and one of the things that he did to Bob Iger's Netflix, Disney Plus. Bob Iger was the one that launched Disney Plus. And then Bob Chapek, too many Bobs. Then Chapek took over. And it was under Chapek that we started to see things like Deadpool. We started to see R-rated content appear on Disney Plus. Something that I don't think would have happened under Bob Iger. Yeah. Now that Bob Iger's back in place, if I'm just scrolling down the Netflix list here, I think Disney is probably okay with some R-rated content on Disney Plus, but I think they want to keep it. I think they want to keep the ratio fairly small.
They're going to move all the Marvel Netflix stuff back over to Netflix after moving it all to Disney.
If I'm like scrolling down here and I'm looking at some of the things, just even on the home landing page of Netflix, right? You've got shows like Shameless. You've got all of the stand-up comedy stuff on there. You've got new to Netflix, How to Build a Sex Room. These are not things that Disney wants or is ever going to put on a Disney branded thing. The only reason
there's another, you mentioned that, and there's another thing you could throw on there, like the Netflix algorithm. And like you were saying, the landing, like I love scrolling through Netflix to look for something to watch.
Oh, Disney Plus is a nightmare. Disney Plus is a nightmare.
So they can like copy and paste that over if they make the purchase.
So the biggest reason why I think they would make this, like everyone's like, oh, like, you know, so that you can get all of the subscribers from one, so you can like, what is the benefit here? And the big benefit to Disney in purchasing Netflix would be logistically all of the partnerships that Netflix has. Right. All of their backdoor deals and their like it's not even just you know. So I think that's one thing. I think the other reason why you would keep Netflix as Netflix, even if Disney owned it, is profit. Right. So right now you pay, I don't know whatever it is, it's like $11 for Disney Plus. Netflix being one of the more expensive ones is like $17, $18 now.
They keep upping the price, and
it's ridiculous. But people will continue to pay both if Disney owns both and keep them separate. Whereas if you took the two of those, you threw them together, and all of a sudden now you have a $30, $35 a month subscription. Nobody's going to pay that.
True.
So there's just more money to be made by keeping them separate.
That's probably the most likeliest scenario if the purchase goes through.
Yeah. But we'll see.
Greedy is all hell.
I'm not against it.
I mean, it's corporate, so that's what they the shareholders want the most money possible out of the deal, then that's what'll happen, right?
Yeah. All right. So we're living in an era. We're living if the 2020s and sort of late 20-teens can be defined by anything in terms of movie going, this is the era of legacy sequels. This is the era of reviving old casts, bringing old television shows back. We've got that 90s show coming out. We saw the Will and Grace reboot. We saw the Roseanne reboot, which turned into the whatever their last name is after the scandal, or the controversy with Roseanne and her tweets and stuff like that. But we're living in this era where we're bringing old movies back and giving them sequels. Mm-hmm. One of those
revitalize.
Yeah. One of those that did quite well, and I was very pleasantly surprised with. There was a couple of things I would have changed to make it sort of my ideal sequel. But one that surprised me quite a bit was Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yes.
Very
fun.
Like I said, some things I would have changed. I mean, mostly I just wanted, and I was very public about this. I wanted, as much as I loved the kids, especially Egon's granddaughter, whatever her name was. I thought she was incredible. But I really just wanted like a 2-hour, like I just wanted old man Ghostbusters. Like I just wanted the original cast for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wanted, because we get them right at the end and you've got like Bill Murray bitching about his sore back and the weight of the equipment. And I'm like, man, 2 hours of this would not get old. Like I just want 2 hours of, but it was very good. And I think one of the reasons why it was so good and it felt so true to the original spirit of it was that you had executive producing Ivan Reitman, who directed the first two, who was kind of executive producing, but also sort of backseat directing, hanging over the shoulder of his son, the director, Jason Reitman. Mm-hmm. Now, that movie was wildly successful, and pretty much immediately after it came out, talks began of where is it going from here. The end of this movie definitely sets up more to come, right? The Ecto comes back to the firehouse. Ernie Zeddemore is there, and he's like, he's getting it all cleaned up, and it looks like they're going to renovate the firehouse and get it up and running and
get things running.
Yeah, we got this new team of Ghostbusters. And then the end of the movie, we see there's something going on with the containment system.
Yeah.
And yeah, so clearly there's something there. Now, shortly after it became public that, we're going to keep going. They're going to do more. They're going to make more. And Jason Reitman is going to direct and everything's good. And here we go until this past week when the sequel to Ghostbusters Afterlife has lost Jason Reitman as a director. Now he's going
Is Ivan still involved?
Well, Ivan passed away a couple of years ago. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he passed away.
Well, I probably did at the
maybe
time,
about a year ago.
I've forgotten.
Yeah. So Jason is still involved as executive producer. And I think that that's important. And the guy who is now going to direct it, let me pull this up here. The guy because it's not just like, now it's without a director. We have a director. And he's actually the co-writer. He wrote Ghostbusters Afterlife with Jason Reitman. Okay. So there's that, which hopefully gives some promisingness. But so his name is Gil Kenan. And if I pull up his directing credits, this is when things maybe become a little worrying. So he's only got 5 previous directing credits. Starting most recently and working its way back, there was the movie A Boy Called Christmas. I don't know if you saw it, but it wasn't very good.
5. IMDb only credits him with 3.
I'm looking at his IMDb and he has 5.
Known for credits.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay.
So A Boy Called Christmas.
Credits, right.
Then he did 1 episode of the Scream TV series. He directed the remake of Poltergeist, which wasn't great. He directed City of Ember, which wasn't great.
I've not seen.
And then he did Monster House, was his first. And Monster House is actually quite charming.
I liked Monster House.
Yeah, I do enjoy Monster House. But having said that, there's quite a bit of crap there. So, I don't know.
A Boy Called Christmas was good, too.
Did you like it? I thought it was a dud.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dud.
It was a little, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, well.
Very whimsical and stuff like that, but I thought it was fun.
Okay, well, that's okay. But yeah, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see where this goes. We have to see if this is legitimately cause to be concerned, or if the fact that one of the writers from the last one is heavily involved now as the director, and Jason Reitman, although doesn't want to direct. See, there's a big difference between helping write it and producing it, versus directing it. Right?
Right.
When you're a director, you are overseeing absolutely everything. You're in 15 meetings a day. You're getting 3 hours of sleep a night. You're like, and this goes on for like a year and a half, 2 years. And I think it's understandable why Jason just doesn't want to do that. Like, no one can blame anyone for not wanting to direct a movie. Like, it's a
lot of work,
immensely grueling, awful process. But I don't know. What are your thoughts? Does this concern you? Were you even looking forward to another one, or were you kind of like, okay, you know what? That was a nice little follow up, a nice little bow on it. Let's quit while we're ahead. What are your thoughts?
I think, like many people, Afterlife reinvigorated my appetite for Ghostbusters content.
Yeah.
And
Gozer.
kind of for somebody who grew up watching a lot of these classic movies that are now being remade or having sequels made, it kind of added a little bit of trust in Hollywood that, yeah, this can be done right, especially after getting crap like the Star Wars Disney trilogy.
I was thinking about that this morning because I was watching an episode of Clone Wars, and so I'm about halfway through season 2 now, and it's weird. Season 2, I think, is better from a story standpoint. I think the stories are more interesting and feel like they carry more weight. But I think the dialogue writing was better in season 1. Season 1, although the stories didn't feel like they really mattered and it was just kind of this scattered all over the place thing, I felt like if I suspended my disbelief just a little bit, I felt like I was watching live action. Like it was very cinematic and very, season 2, the stories are better. The story arc is better, but something about the writing and some of the shots and some of the movements of the characters and stuff, it feels much more like a cartoon now.
Yeah, the series as a whole kind of has some ups and downs, but it definitely has a steady progression. Like it gets better and better as the seasons go on. Like the last couple seasons are I think they're just phenomenal. I feel the same way about Rebels, which I just finished watching. Like the first season of Rebels, like the animation feels weird because it's like they use a different type of animation than Clone Wars. But then as it goes on, the animation you start to either get used to it or they get better at it.
Okay.
The stories get better.
Back to Ghostbusters.
But anyway, yeah. So trust. Afterlife helped kind of restore some trust, and in different ways, and kind of having that little nugget at the end that, hey, there's potential for more here. Really, like after watching Afterlife, like I'm ready for more. That being said, I would only be ready for more if, and I guess in this, I have to say now, A. Reitman was involved.
And he is. He's still definitely involved.
Ghostbuster Afterlife worked and the previous reboot failed horribly is because they didn't involve Ivan. To my knowledge, I don't think he was involved.
Ivan was a producer in, and the weird thing about Ghostbusters,
I don't know.
What was that one even called? Ghostbusters Answer the Call or something? Yeah, Ghostbusters Answer the Call was that not only like Ivan Reitman helped write it.
He was a producer.
He was also a writer.
Was he a writer? No, he was not a writer. Paul Feige and Katie Dippold.
I'm seeing a writing credit here, man.
Paul Feige. It was written by Paul Feige and directed by Paul Feige.
Okay, well, if
Feige.
If you pull up Ivan Reitman's...
Ivan Reitman produced it.
Okay. If you pull up his writing credits on IMDb...
This is Wiki I'm looking at.
Okay. Well, IMDb is maybe a little more credible. But the other thing that was crazy about it was that, like, Dan Aykroyd was such an advocate of the female Ghostbusters movie. Like, all through the production of it and having seen it and stuff, he was so excited about that movie, and he thought fans were really going to love it. And that kind of hurt my, like, if I think about Dan Aykroyd before that movie came out versus Dan Aykroyd now, and like having watched some interviews with him and stuff, Dan Aykroyd's kind of crazy.
He's a little loopy.
He's a little loopy, and I never thought that prior. He believes
some really crazy stuff.
Yeah, I never thought that prior to the female. I knew he was always into like the occult and ghosts and stuff like that, but yeah.
So there's a bit of a conflict between IMDb and Wiki. So Ivan Reitman was involved. My hunch would be he wasn't that as involved as he should have been.
Probably not.
Like, if you compare Answer the Call to Afterlife, these are two starkly, drastically different Ghostbuster films.
Yeah, well, and they're meant to be. One's a remake, and one's a
well, the remake is just it's just the whole thing is just let's set up everything's a setup for a joke. There's nothing taken serious ever.
No, they went straight comedy with it as opposed to like comedy horror.
It was so bad.
Yeah,
but where the original and Afterlife was. This is very serious, and we will pull some funny bits out of the seriousness, but the seriousness isn't there to set up the joke. Right, which is where losing his name.
Jason Reitman?
No,
Ivan Reitman?
Funny actor in can't believe I'm losing his name. Ghostbuster, funny guy.
Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray.
Which is where Bill Murray fit so nicely in there, right? Because he was kind of like he added that comedic value in the seriousness. So yeah, I would. My hunch, and it's just a wild hunch, right? Is that Ivan wasn't as involved as he could have been. Like, he signed. Obviously, he must have signed off on it or whatever, been involved somehow. But at the end of the day, he probably was kind of. No, we're not going to do that. Told, no, we're not going to do that, or no, we like our idea better, or something like that. That would be my guess. Where Afterlife is just like his love letter to the fans, saying, "This is what I wanted to do."
Yeah, maybe,
before, and they wouldn't let me.
So, okay, moving on.
So, anyway, that being said, there's a Reitman involved, so potential that it could be really good.
Yeah. Back to Netflix. So. This one's super surprising to me. Netflix, if you haven't been living under a rock, you're well aware that a couple of weeks ago, Netflix launched their Tim Burton Addams Family show Wednesday. Now, on paper, regardless of your feelings on Tim Burton, some people love him, some people, it's just not their flavor. On paper, a Tim Burton Addams Family project is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. If you're gonna, if you're searching through all the previous IPs that exist, and you're like, we got to get Tim Burton to do one of these things. Addams Family, you'd be hard pressed to find something that better fits Tim Burton's style and his sensibilities than the Addams Family. Now, this was a show that I was excited for as soon as I heard that it was coming. As a big Addams Family fan and a big Tim Burton fan, I was like, perfect. And it's a show, so it's not like I'm going to get one 90-minute thing and then it's gone, and then I get to watch this over several hours. What I wasn't expecting was everyone else to be so damn excited as well. It's now come out that in the history of Netflix, Wednesday is the third most watched English show, so excluding something like Squid Game, of all time.
That's
on
cool.
Netflix.
What are the top two, then?
In the history of Netflix. The top two are, I know one of them is season 4 of Stranger Things. I did have it pulled up and memorized, and now I've forgotten. I'll find it. But yeah, so one is oh, here we go here. Stranger Things. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Stupid. Stranger Things season 4 is number 1, and 2, which is something that I also loved, was I think it was a 10-part series. The
Jeffrey
Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer story, Monster. The Jeffrey
I was
Dahmer
joking,
story.
really?
Yeah. The Evan Peters one, and
Okay.
so. But still, it's mind blowing to me. I was saying to Brienne last night, I said, what blows my mind about this is also I haven't seen the show yet. I've just been behind.
Really?
And I haven't gotten.
That was going to be one of my questions.
I know I haven't gotten a chance to watch it yet, which is so weird because it feels like now everybody else on the planet has seen it, and
I haven't.
And someone like me who should have been first in line hasn't gotten around to it. But what I said to Brienne
was... It's on my list, but I got other things I want to watch before.
Exactly. What I said to Brienne was, I was like, what blows my mind is this, like, mathematically, the sheer number of normies, which she laughed at. She was, you mean, what, like normal people? And I said, yeah. I was like, the sheer number of normies that are watching this, that are gobbling this up, is just crazy to me. And so I don't know what it is. Like I said, I haven't seen it yet, so I can't really comment on what the obvious reason for this is. But I think it's bizarre. I think it's fantastic. They've already announced a season 2 coming. So you haven't, like you said, you haven't watched it, but it's on your list.
Yeah, it's pretty far down my list though. Like it looks interesting. It sounds interesting, but I'm not jumping all over it, you know, like I'll get to it eventually.
So, but the question then becomes, does finding out that it is the third highest streamed thing in the history of Netflix, does that move it up on your list at all? Does that pique your interest and go, huh?
I don't care what other people want me to or think is popular in terms of content. Like I watch some pretty, I guess you call standard, like stuff everyone else is watching. Like I watched Stranger Things and as it was coming out and stuff like that. But then I watched some stuff that only a fairly niche group of people will watch. Like I watched recently. I watched the 3 live action Full Metal Alchemist movies, right? Which were a lot of fun. Most people would say they're not as good as the show, which I think I'd agree with. But I mean, you're lumping whole seasons of a show down into 3 hour. Like I think the show, the original anime has got like probably over 100 episodes, and you're lumping them down into 3 movies. So it's never going to be. It's kind of like making a book into a movie, right? You're never going to get all the content that people want and desire,
right,
into that media, into a shorter form of media.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I enjoy it. Like, so I follow what I watch. I watch what I like. I don't care what other people like.
That's fair. So talking about remakes and bringing old things back and revitalizing old properties. And I already know, you and I haven't discussed this yet, but I already know how you're going to feel about this. And And you already know how I'm going to feel about this because my philosophy is remake everything. Remake anything, it doesn't matter. Because if the new one comes out and it's fantastic, then great. And if the new one comes out and it's no good, then great, you move on. Right? Like you've still got your original that you know and love, and it doesn't matter at all. In a recent interview, it was it was disclosed that there have been talks between Drew Barrymore and Cameron Diaz on doing a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Drew Barrymore wanting to play sort of the John Candy-esque character. This is, I think this could be fantastic. Like, I don't know. It seems like when we're talking about remakes or revisiting old properties, comedies are the ones that do the worst, in my opinion, simply because part of what makes some of these old these old movies, these old comedies so good is that it was a different type of humor, and it's a humor that I resonate with more, whereas nowadays the humor is like sex jokes and crassness, and it's just kind of lost its cleverness.
I think there's a little more to it than, like, I agree, but I think there's more to it as well. You've got the synergy between the two actors when we're talking about this comedy specifically. You got synergy between the two actors. You've got the A+ gold, platinum tier, top tier standard comedic chops of both of these lead actors.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to recreate a diamond in a lab, essentially.
Well,
when you look at something like Plane, Trains, and Automobiles, and you're trying to, you're never going to get something as amazing and beautiful and once in a lifetime.
No, and it doesn't need to be as good as or better than the original to still be fun and good.
But it's just a waste of time. And
we
money
know
and
that. Well, but not if it makes money.
It's never going to be as good, though.
We know that.
Especially when this one still stands the test.
We know that subjectively, Cameron Diaz and Drew Barrymore are good. Like, they've both got good credits under their belt.
They're good actors.
We know that they work well together, that they have synergy. If you've seen them together in Charlie's Angels, right, which was a comedy action type thing. Like I said, will it be better than the original? I think there's a snowball's chance in hell. It doesn't mean it couldn't be, and even if it isn't or is, that's a subjective thing, anyways, right? Your neighbor might think it is, whereas you think it isn't. Like, there's no way to sort of objectively gauge that. But you know what? If they do it and they do it in a clever way, right? Like, so for me, one of the things that, like, the one that comes to mind that was not a remake, but it was kind of like a comedy that we went back and revisited, and the new one I did not enjoy at all just because the humor was entirely different, was the Vacation movie. Right? With Ed Helms What's his name? The guy from the Hangover.
From The Office, and
And it was very much in the same continuity as the first one. Because they even, they show up and there's Chevy Chase and Beverly D'Angelo and
Chevy Chase's son.
Yeah, right. He's Rusty. And so
Christmas.
But to me it was so chock full of, like, they end up swimming in a bog that's actually sewer runoff, and they have, like, shit in their mouths, and, like, it was so crass and so 2000s comedy that
lowbrow, easy comedy.
Yeah, it just didn't work. Whereas the original was smart and funny, and And so that would be literally my only concern, is that if they're going to follow suit with this one and go for the low hanging fruit in terms of laughs, then why bother? But if the two of them, who we know work well together and we know are good actors, if they can pull something together and make it really, really clever and really make it sing, and it's Drew Barrymore, so at some point, I don't care when, how, or to what capacity, Adam Sandler needs to show up. Then you know what? I'm on board. Is it something I'm going to go out and see in the theater? I highly doubt it. But we've seen that this type of thing can work. Now, not everybody likes this movie, but I'm a really big fan of the Robert Downey Jr., Zach Galifianakis movie Due Date. Which is
I was going to bring this up when I got a chance to talk.
Yeah, which is essentially just a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake. And I think it works.
So let me jump in here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I am fairly usually staunchly opposed to any remake. Because if you want to watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, watch Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Don't make a new one. Especially when the thing you're trying to remake still stands the test of time. And this is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles still stands the test of time.
But do you think it does for a younger audience? Like if you're 15 now and you don't know who, reasonably, and you know what, it's sad, but there's a good chance that a 15-year-old doesn't know who John Candy is, or Steve Martin.
I would say it does still stand the test of time. From my point of view, from a certain point of view. That's a horrible Obi-Wan accent.
Yeah, it was really bad.
But I would say it does. But the point I'm going to drive home here is that instead of remaking it, just watch the other one. If you want to make something, instead of remaking it and then creating this direct correlation, direct comparison, no matter what you do, you can't get away from people comparing your movie to this original that people love and adore. Instead of essentially trying to shoot for the stars like this and make something comparable, do what Due Date did. It's like you said, it's different. The same premise.
Yeah.
But they never say we're making a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles type movie. They never say we're making a Planes, Trains, and Automobiles remake. No, we're making a movie. It's got Robert Downey Jr. It's got Zach Galifianakis. It's going to be a funny comedy where they're traveling together and Robert Downey Jr.'s character's got to get to the hospital on time to watch his kid be born.
One's a straight man, one's a goofball.
Yeah, it's almost a carbon copy of Planes, Trains, and it works beautifully. And unless somebody is forcing the comparison like we are, you don't automatically think of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when you're talking about Due Date.
No,
because it's not a remake. It's not held to that's the standard that Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is set. It's its own movie.
You've swayed me. You have. I think that these two in this premise could be really, really good. And there's no reason not to, Due Date, it's been over 15 years since Due Date came out, and there's not a lot. It's a trope that's been done, but it's not an exhausted trope. It's not like, if they were to come out with this tomorrow, we'd be like, oh, this again? How many times have we seen this? Right? So call it something different. And
that's what I feel like with most remakes. Like, okay, there's nothing new under the sun, but you can make something kind of original, and that's what they're going to try and do. And they're going to, they're flipping the leads in terms of the sex. Instead of males, they're females, and you'll get some people whine and complain about that, and then they'll do other things with the comedy, and some people whine and complain about that, and they might try and pull off some of the same jokes, and people will say, well, it wasn't as good, or they screwed it up. Like,
right.
Why even set, you're essentially, in my opinion, a remake sets itself up for failure. Unless you're doing something like that is ancient in terms of a story, like, I had his name, it just slipped. Ancient stage writer, wrote thousands of plays.
Shakespeare?
Shakespeare, thank you. Unless you're doing something like Shakespeare, which, yeah, like, sure, yeah, remake. Like, Shakespeare has been redone and remade billions of times anyway, so people don't really correlate and compare a Shakespeare film to the original necessarily. They might. I don't know. I'm not a big Shakespeare nut myself. I haven't read any books. So maybe somebody does. Maybe there are some Shakespeare snobs out there that hate the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. But yeah, I think when it comes to like made within our lifetime movies, made within the last 50 to 70 years movies that are classics that hold up well, why remake them? Why say we are remaking X?
Right.
Just say, no, we're making this series, this show, and it uses this trope, and people might go, oh yeah, this old movie used that trope. Let's see what they do with this trope. Like, yeah, tropes get used all the time.
Here's an interesting question.
You're not setting yourself up for failure by copying a trope.
Right. Interesting question for you. How much of the magic of the original do you think, like, obviously a large portion of it can and should be attributed to John Candy and Steve Martin. But how much of that do you also think is because this was a directed, written, and produced by John Hughes thing? And for those who don't know, I don't know how you couldn't, but John Hughes, Mr. Mom, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, the Vacation movies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Home Alone, Uncle Buck, Beethoven.
It probably plays a big part.
Yeah, it's gotta.
Like, how can it not?
The man was a legend.
He's got, I'm just looking at his IMDb, and it's like everything is classic.
Yeah.
Like you got everything from Christmas classics like this one, Home Alone. You got stuff like Beethoven.
Yep.
And Flubber. 101 Dalmatians.
Like it's all perfect. Man. Dennis the Menace.
It's crazy. This is a crazy list of amazing
the Great
movies.
Outdoors.
Yeah, so it's definitely, it's a trifecta of perfection coming together.
Yeah. Okay, so one of the things we've been talking about a lot is the stuff happening over at Warner Brothers Discovery, which is the company that is sort of the parent company for the new DC studios, headed by James Gunn and Peter Safran. And there are some more shakeups coming. So it was just announced that Wonder Woman 3 with Patty Jenkins canceled. It's not happening.
So I heard this news on Saturday. And at the time when I had heard it, it was more the script was unacceptable for the higher ups, and they wanted the script reworked.
For the new,
is it official? And then on Sunday, she kind of walked off the job.
Yeah. So basically,
she's not interested.
I mean,
but that doesn't feel like it's canceled to me. There's one, like the way the the YouTube video I watched breaking down the article was there's nothing confirmed here in the original art, in the original kind of news release. The only thing confirmed was the script was not accepted. And then the rest, everything that people have said after that has pretty much been rumor and hearsay, because there's nothing substantial except for now the director has walked off and is not interested unless her original script is taken.
Right. So
is it actually canceled? Like, my question then is, like, is the source that you're reading saying it's officially canceled, or there's just that the director is now left?
So would you like me to
yes,
to tell you the news story? So
I wanted to put that out there as a clarification to see, like, is this official?
Yeah, and I'll get there. So
yeah, okay.
It is now canceled. So what had happened was, as we know, James Gunn and Peter Safran are sitting down. They're meeting with the execs at Warner Brothers. They're doing all this stuff. They're coming up with their Kevin Feige MCU 10-year roadmap for DC, right? And with that, a lot of changes are going to happen, obviously, right? Because you don't spend all this money, create a new studio, bring these people in to correct the ship, and then just keep doing what you've been doing. That's asinine. It doesn't make any sense, right? It's there's gonna be changes. And so Patty Jenkins, the director, had a script that her treatment for the film, they were ready to move forward on it, all this stuff. And then as the roadmap started to form, that script, much like what happened with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man, right? For the longest time, Edgar Wright was going to direct the first Ant-Man. They had come up with a story. This was the movie they were going to make. And then some time passed. The MCU kind of took shape. Kevin Feige's vision sort of came into focus for where it was going to go. Kevin Feige came back to Edgar Wright, said, hey, the movie that we talked about making no longer works for the MCU. So let's make some changes. And Edgar Wright said, no, this other film that we talked, that's the movie I want to make. And so they parted ways, in a peaceful, amicable way. It was just simply, that's not the movie I want to make. And so something very similar happened here, where they said, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And Patty Jenkins basically said, okay, well, F you guys. It seems like she was a little less amicable about it. And so it has been sort of indefinitely shelved right now. The reports are also suggesting that the Aquaman 2 movie that we're getting, that'll be the last time you're going to see Jason Momoa as Aquaman.
Yeah. Okay. I heard that.
Yeah. And that what DC is looking at is essentially a full slate reboot of the DCEU.
Are we still getting Flash?
Flash will still come out. Yeah. In fact, they just moved the release date up by a week.
So Flashpoint will be like their hard reboot.
Well, we don't know. We don't know if they're going to use that as, like, if we don't know if it's going to be a plot device, or if they're just simply going to release what's already sort of in the hopper.
They've then sunk all this money into it. This will be, might as well get their money back.
Yeah. And so what this pulls into question is things like, so what's the deal with all this news and speculation that we just had about Henry Cavill's Superman? Because here's the thing. James Gunn has said several times, it's become very clear that their priority moving forward is Superman. That Superman is going to be the figurehead of the DC universe. And we never actually officially see. Henry Cavill came out, and the whole big thing was Henry Cavill's back. Superman's back. And technically that was true. He showed up at the end of Black Adam. But something really interesting also has happened, in that not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, Henry Cavill went and shot a couple of last minute reshoot scenes, so that Henry Cavill's Superman would appear in the Flash movie that's coming out in 6 months, if not even. Well, those scenes are now being pulled. Those scenes aren't going to be in it. And so does this call into question, does this threaten the idea that Henry Cavill is going to be our Superman moving forward? And I say yes, and it should. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. We've talked about that. I think he's the best Superman we've had on screen. But if you are going to start fresh, if you are going to reboot this, you can't do a buffet-style, wishy-washy, pick-and-choose reboot. If you're going to start fresh, clean slate, then it needs to be a clean slate. And if that means no Henry Cavill Superman, then that sucks. But it will be for the best of whatever vision that they're working on and putting together and moving forward with.
Yeah.
So in response to this, because this was all sort of a report that came out in the Hollywood Reporter, and James Gunn, who is extremely active on social media. There's not a lot of people in Hollywood that are super active on social media. There are a couple, and James Gunn is one of them. And James Gunn came out on Twitter and he said this. So, as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true. Some of it is half true. Some of it is not true. And some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not.
Way to clear things up there, James Gunn.
We know we're not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in service of the story, which he put in caps, and in service of the DC characters, which he put in caps. We know you cherish and have cherished our whole lives. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. So, what are your thoughts? Is a reboot what is necessary at this point? Is just kind of, cutting losses and demolishing the burning house? Is that the way to go? And if it is the way to go, does that need to mean that it is a complete new clean slate, that any of the characters that we have need to be recast, their stories need to be restarted, and we just need to move forward into a new era?
Yeah. Yes. I would be sad to see Henry Cavill not as Superman. I would be sad to not see Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, in spite of how not fun. Well, it was all right. It was kind of fun. I didn't like 1984 as much as the first one.
I don't think anyone did.
But they're she portrays the role beautifully. Bad writing is not her problem. It's someone else's. So I would be sad to see, especially those two not. Jason Momoa's Aquaman is great. I like Jason Momoa's Aquaman. I don't know the name of the guy who plays Cyborg. I thought he portrayed a great Cyborg. So the casting for the current iteration of the DCU has almost been spot on for me. The actors have portrayed the characters for the most part, with a few exceptions, really well. But I am all for, like, just whatever was planned, put it in the dumpster fire and let's start from scratch, because what we have so far is a hot mess.
Yeah.
And I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I hope that James Gunn takes a page out of the animated movies that DC has been putting out. I don't know if Warner Brothers been involved with the animated ones. I think they have.
Yeah, they have.
But they have been so good. Yeah. So good.
Well, and James Gunn...
There's a few I haven't watched that I really should.
Yeah.
But, like, they're all just amazing.
The Harley Quinn series is fantastic.
They did the Dark Justice League was really good. The way they introduced Shazam and Black Adam was really good. Like, it's just everything that I've watched from the animated movies has been spot on beautiful.
Well, what I think they will do is, because James Gunn worked very closely with, knows, and was sort of in Kevin Feige's side pocket for quite a while.
Yeah.
And one of the things that Kevin has done that DC has not done up until this point, like if you look at the MCU, yes, there are some changes when it comes to the stories and stuff like that, but their main source of inspiration, what they really look to and really pull from for their story arcs, is the comics.
Mm-hmm. And they try and keep it not perfectly true to.
No, because you got to add some, you got to change some things up. But DC really hasn't done that. If you look at the DC movies that we've gotten, that it's kind of been, it's the characters from the comics, but we're just going to do our own stories. We're just going to make shit up as we go. So I think that's a change that you will see for sure. But James Gunn's a smart guy. He's a big DC fan. I think we will see moving forward, we're going to see a lot of like B-list characters sort of get some spotlight shone on them, much like he did with Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And
get some Elastic Man going, and
you talk about James Gunn, and you're talking about the guy that within the last year gave us Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
He gave us a Peacemaker series, an incredibly successful Peacemaker series. Right? So like, yeah, I think for sure good things are coming. Also, I want to point out that for anyone who's like panicking, the two things that won't be affected by this, I highly don't see them being affected by this at all, because they're not actually a part of the DCU. We're not talking about all DC properties being canned and rebooted and starting fresh. Just basically their shared universe. So stuff like Joker 2, that won't get touched. That's fine. The Matt Reeves's Robert Pattinson Batman movies, those will be left intact, because they're not actually a part of that other story to begin with. So fret not; those are still coming.
They could potentially get. Well, I don't know about the Joker one, but one of those universes could get wrapped up into whatever the new universe is going to be. Highly unlikely. Yeah. If it's because it sounds like they're doing a full reboot. But.
I hope not. And so we've talked about this. You haven't seen the Robert Pattinson Batman movie yet, and you and I are going to watch it in like 2 weeks' time. Sure. But once you see it, you'll very quickly realize this is a universe that needs to not have magic and aliens and cosmic beings, and like it wouldn't work. It would soil the universe. So okay, last topic, and staying on sort of DC properties. We've talked about the Flash movie that's coming out, and despite all of the controversy surrounding it, one thing that everyone who has worked on it and all of the executives who have seen it have all agreed, this is a really good movie. Like they've made a hell of a movie, which is, I think, one of the reasons why, despite all the Ezra Miller stuff, they're proceeding to release it, because they feel like they've truly got something so wonderful on their hands. One of the things that the thing that I am most excited for about this Flash movie, something that for me has overshadowed every piece of movie news, including Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine, for me personally, is the return of Michael Keaton as Batman. This has been like just jaw-droppingly wonderful for me. I am beside myself. I can't believe we live in a world where this is happening. So it sounds like, well, it doesn't sound like, it's been confirmed that one of the things that was sort of happening behind the scenes at DC was someone was asked to write a script for a standalone Michael Keaton movie and just kind of see if it works. And they wrote it, and they liked it, and they were ready to start working on it. And then some of this new shakeup and the direction we're going in and the rebooting of things has canceled that project. Now, here's the kicker. Have you heard anything about this movie?
No. Not a thing.
Here's the kicker. It sounds like it was going to be a Batman Beyond movie. That it was going to be Michael Keaton as Old Man Bruce.
Ooh.
And whoever else as Terry McGinnis. Now,
that's interesting.
It's interesting, but it's also strange because reportedly the one thing about the script that, like, if you think about it timeline-wise, it was going to be set in modern day.
Oh, that's weird.
It is weird, but you would kind of, if you're going to have Michael Keaton as Old Man Batman and he's showing up as Old Man Batman in The Flash, unless you do some really screwy stuff where Bruce gets sucked out of his own time and stuck in the future, but then it doesn't really, then like Old Man Bruce's motivations and stuff like that don't actually work all that well anyways. It kind of, with the setup they would have, it kind of has to be modern day. If in modern day he's already like in his 70s, but I don't know, man. I'm disappointed, not because it was, not so much because it was a Batman Beyond movie, because, you know, like, it is what it is. But I'm disappointed because it's a canceled standalone Michael Keaton Batman movie. But here's the thing. Everyone who I've talked to about this are sad and gutted because all they wanted was a Batman Beyond movie. And now it's not coming.
Live action Batman Beyond would be mint if done right.
But here's the thing. This is actually very exciting news. Because although this movie has been canceled, what it means is there are enough people over at DC that have Batman Beyond on their radar that it's at the table and it's a part of the discussion. This one's getting canceled because it doesn't, you know, because we're going to rework the timeline and the story and so on and so forth, and it just doesn't make sense to put this movie into production the way it's written. But I think the discovering that there's a canceled Batman Beyond movie actually shines more credibility on the fact that we might get one moving forward.
Yeah, I could see that. That logic is, I would say, is sound. But I would also kind of caution any emphasis, any excitement, temper that excitement, because the likelihood of it coming sooner than later is next to none. If they're doing a full reboot, they're going to look to the main characters, the main stars of DC Comics, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman.
Well, so then they do it as a standalone. because it won't fit the timeline
anyways. Standalone, I guess. But that, I mean, if you're focusing on rebooting, you're going to like when Pattinson's done with his contract, you're not going to see any more Pattinson Batman. When this Joker 2's done, I highly doubt you'll see any more from that Joker in that world. Like, you don't see Marvel going out of their way to make these kind of standalone, this is a completely different, I mean, they are a bit now with the multiverse of madness nonsense happening, but it's still, even with that out there now that there's a multiverse, it's still set within the kind of canon and timeline and world building that is what we've already kind of come to love. It's not, you know what I mean? So I can see them doing it 20 years from now when they're at the position Marvel's at, where we're getting legacy characters.
Yeah, but see, the problem is 20 years, like, I think Batman Beyond would always have to be a standalone thing, because 20 years from now, it's still going to be modern time. It'll be modern times 20 years from now, right? And so in order to set something in the future, it kind of has to be its own thing, right? Otherwise, it's always going to muddy your timeline. It's always not going to make sense, because you're going to have to cast someone. So, you won't be able to use the guy that you already have playing Batman. You'll need someone who's 40 years older.
I mean, DC's got its own multiverse, but I can't see them creating these alternate universes when they're trying to create a new timeline, a new series of movies that are all interwoven and connected the way Marvel is. I could potentially see them doing like a time jump movie, like somebody gets sent to the future and, hey, look, it's Batman in a futuristic, oh wait, that's not Bruce Wayne. Who is that? That's, like, I could see them doing something like that, but right. I can't see them doing like a Terry McGinnis origin story unless they've kind of run Batman through a gauntlet of solo and team up movies first.
Right. Yeah, it's possible.
And then it's time for him to pass the mantle. He's getting too old. His body's breaking down. It doesn't heal like it used to, like you got to pass the torch.
Yeah.
Fine. So I love Batman Beyond. I would love for what you're saying to happen with what they're planning, what it seems like they're planning here. I can't see it happening anytime soon.
Yeah. Because I guess
20 years out.
The problem is if you set it in modern time, if you set Batman Beyond in modern time, who does Terry McGinnis become? Who is Terry McGinnis essentially?
I'm not sure what you were asking. Like, he's Terry McGinnis. He's Batman Beyond.
But really only if he's set in the future, because that's the kind of the whole appeal, like his rocket boots or like whatever it is.
Yeah.
In modern day, Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond is basically just Nightwing. He's just Nightwing, but in the future and has future tech and is wearing the cowl instead of, he's just not Dick Grayson. It's the same character, more or less.
There's lots of interesting stories to be told around Nightwing, but I mean, there's lots of interesting stories that, even though Batman's one of the most cinematic characters that's gotten screen time in terms of other of DC characters, he's got most cinematic screen time. There's still lots more stories to be told about just Bruce Wayne Batman.
Oh, for sure.
Still lots of stories to be told about
his
sidekicks.
A long Halloween movie.
Yeah, we've hardly touched on his sidekicks in the cinematic world and movies.
Yeah,
and we barely touched on Dick Grayson Robin.
Yeah, I'm going to say it. We need a Robin. We need to see Robin done right.
Robin done right. Dick Grayson I would be, with this kind of new cinematic universe being built, it'd be really cool. Yeah, see Robin growing up under Batman right off the bat.
Jason
And
Todd.
then he steps away to form the Teen Titans. Now we got Teen Titans films, and he becomes Nightwing through that. Like, and then we get Jason Todd.
We get a Red Hood storyline.
Red Hood. Like, yeah, there's so as good as Terry McGinnis storylines are. I would much prefer to see Batman and Robin storylines played out first.
Done properly. Yeah.
Yeah, done properly.
Cool. Well, that's it. That's the news.
That's it. That's all.
That's all the news.
You are free to leave.
Thank you so
Please
much. No,
do the things.
No, this is important first. Thank you for listening. You gotta thank them. You can just send them off.
I was all I was gonna say. I was gonna let you pick up the slack.
Oh, okay. Because you were a slacker. Was that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you do such a good job at it.
No McFly in the history of Hale Valley has ever amounted to anything, Carl. Your father was a slacker, and so are you.
It's a good thing I'm not a McFly.
Thank you for listening. Check out our Facebook, Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, merch store. All of those things are listed down below. And more importantly, reach out to us. Send us a message on Facebook, comment somewhere, send us an email, themoviemenpodcast@gmail.com, and let us know what your thoughts are on these topics. Are we out to lunch? Are these things that you're excited for? Did we hit the nail on the head? Tell us. Fight with us. Argue a bit.
What news did Brady miss that he should have put on the list?
There's so much, man. There's so much. You can't, we do the show once a week and 6 new topics come out every single day. You gotta cherry pick through it all. It's tricky.
I'm sure there's something that came out in the last hour that we could talk about.
That's why the show's called The Last Week in Movie News. That way we don't need to pay attention to what's going on right now. We can just dwell on the past. Because that's healthy.